year, new intro, new GPS, same old host. Welcome to Icenrye's Geocaching Videozine. Hi there, and welcome to episode 8 of Icenrye's Geocaching Videozine. I'm Icenrye. Thanks for watching. So here we are, January 2006. Winter finally has arrived here in Prince George. As you can see, there is snow on the ground, which of course makes geocaching just a tad difficult, but we'll get to that in a future episode. So anyways, how was your holiday season? Was Santa good to you? Santa was very good to me. Matter of fact, Santa brought me this. Yes, a Garmin. High-end Garmin. GPS Map 60. Of course, you know what this means now. I have a Magellan. I have a Garmin. Can you say GPS wars? Ford versus Chevy. Coke versus Pepsi. Garmin versus Magellan. Watch for it on an upcoming episode of Icenrye's Geocaching Videozine. So, if you're new to the sport of geocaching and this is your first time watching the show, welcome to the family. Basically what this is video podcast, basically, is the term they use these days. I have a little handheld video camera, and I take it with me geocaching. I put together this show. I put it out on the internet for everyone to watch. And if you're a regular viewer of the show, thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it. So what's coming up in this episode? Well, it's an interesting one. I have some geocaching footage that I shot back in September, and I went to Jasper, Alberta, Jasper National Park, Canada to be exact. And a few things have changed since then, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about geocaching in Canada's national parks. Stay tuned, it's very interesting. Also, I have the usual, I got some viewers' mail, some new Frappr map shoutouts to some of my regular viewers out there, and of course, the usual crazy stuff I always like to do on this show. So anyways, let's not waste any more time. Let's get on with the show. Let's start off with the latest in news. In recent news, Podcast Alley. Hey, everyone who's gone to Podcast Alley and voted for me, great. But just a reminder, you have to do it at the start of every month. So we're about halfway through January as I tape this. So if you haven't done so yet, please go to Podcast Alley and vote for Icenrye's Geocaching Videozine. What your vote will do is increase the exposure of this show so more people get a chance to see it. And it helps my ego, but really, it's all about the exposure of the show. As a matter of fact, as I tape this, I'm ranked number 9 in the video podcast section, and I'm 233 overall. So please, if you're out there, get out and vote. Let's see. I also had on a new introduction, but you know that by now because, well, you've made it this far into the video podcast. Yes, a Flickr site. I've joined the rest of the internet world, it seems, and I now also have a Flickr account where I've post pictures, and I have a geocaching section. I also have a few personal photographs if you want to see what I do when I'm not standing in front of a camera talking about geocaching. And you can link to the Flickr site from my homepage at www.icenrye.com. Just look over on the right side and you'll see a random Flickr photo, and there's actually a button that'll take you to the entire site. And yes, I do have a section dedicated to geocaches. As a matter of fact, the last pictures I put up there were all the pictures that I used in my old opening, where I just sort of had the slideshow playing, and I tell you which cache each picture was taken from, and you can go and visit them. Strangely enough, most of them are in the Jasper area, and they're not around anymore, but that's coming up later in this episode. One of my regular viewers, Mountain Born, down in Arkansas, sent me this really cool link on their forums. They decided to do a search on Yahoo Video on geocaching videos, and it turns out there's a ton of stuff out there. So I'll put the link in the show notes. It'll actually be down here on the bottom of the screen, and go there, and there's lots of really cool stuff. I found one video. It was sort of a coffin cache. I won't give too much away. Just go there, watch it. You'll love it. So anyways, that's enough me talking about me. Let's get on with the good stuff. Okay, time for some Frappr map shoutouts. And this month I want to give credit to the first 10 people that signed up on my Frappr map. And if you don't know what Frappr is, go to my website. On the right side, in the top corner, you'll see a little icon there. Frappr is it's a classic old-fashioned wall map where you put pins up on different places where you've been. In my Frappr map, I just ask people, hey, are you watching the show? Where are you from? So the first 10 people to join were Justice 1, Eric, Black Cat 96. Glad to see you're back on this side of the ocean. Please send me pictures and stories of your tour of duty in Iraq. I'd love to hear about it. Boskun, TJ Guy 98, Team Simpson, Abo, Amhasi, Multitracker, and Lugnuts. Guys, thanks for joining. And as of yesterday, I had the 100th person sign up on my Frappr map, and the lucky person was VI Casher. So again, if you haven't signed up on my Frappr map yet, please do so. You can get to it through my website. So that's my Frappr map shoutout section. Let's go read some viewers' mail. Viewers' mail. I'm getting quite a lot of it, everybody, and thank you very much for writing. As a matter of fact, if you'd like to write to me, feel free. GeoIcenrye@icenrye.com. First we hear from the GeoBear Adventure Squad. Greetings from Auburn, New York. Just dropping a note to say I love your geocaching show. My wife and I watched most of them a few nights ago. They're just fantastic. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, if you have any great New York State geocaching stories, send them to me. I could always use some material on the show. From Thomas, we hear, hello Icenrye. I have found the links to your great videos, and I load them all down from my favorite forum on www.geoclub.de. I think that nobody can describe this great hobby better than you. I want to say that I enjoy your videos, and I hope to see more of this great stuff coming up. Greetings from Germany. Thank you very much. You know, I've traveled quite a bit over in Canada, and I love this country, but man, I have to get to Europe someday. I'd really love to see the old countries. From Carol Crack, we hear, hi Sheldon, we like your geocaching videozine very much. We downloaded all episodes and used several as cache goodies, on a CD of course. We like the educational items, such as urban camouflage the most, but it's also quite funny to follow you on your cache adventures. Since you mentioned the Groundspeak forum several times, I suspect you are quite a frequent visitor. So you must know about geocaching coins. Do you plan to do an item on these nice shiny things? Well, Carol, that's interesting you mentioned that. As a matter of fact, if I reach into my pocket, I just happen to have 2 coins with me. This one is a Colorado geocoin that was given to me as a trade item for one of my DVDs. And also, this one is a Canadian geocoin, which you can buy online at geocoins.ca. So, the Colorado coin, I'm going to keep with me. I'm going to use this as a mileage coin. Some people do this with travel bugs and other such. So what they do is every time they find a cache, they place and then retrieve the coin. And it just keeps track of basically how far you yourself have traveled. The Canadian geocoin, one like this, has also been placed in a cache recently. I will release into the wild. And just like a travel bug, you pick up the coin, you go to a website, you log your find, you tell it where you got it from, where it's going, so on and so forth. And it'll just be nice to see how far the coin can reach. So next we hear from GeoZeus, and he writes, I just wanted to tell you how much I've enjoyed all of your episodes. After watching episode 2, I went on eBay and bought a PDA to start paperless caching. Also signed on to subscribe through iTunes. By the way, I have and will continue to highly rate you on the vodcast.tv site. I was the first to submit a review on the iTunes for your Videozine. Keep up the excellent work. GeoZeus. Well, GeoZeus, thank you very much. And yes, if you haven't heard about it, Vodcast.tv is very similar to the Podcast Alley, except it specializes in video podcasts. So again, it's another place you can go and rate sites and vote on them. And again, it's all about the exposure thing. Now, as for comments, all these sites, including iTunes, allow user comments. So if you're downloading this show through iTunes, feel free, go to the iTunes podcast page, click on my podcast, feel free to add a comment. The more we can spread the word, the better. So next we hear from Bonnie. And she writes, Icenrye, I really love your website and your videozines. I have watched them all more than once. You give such good information to people. I really appreciate how you present so much good information in such a fun, lighthearted, accessible format. I will be teaching a GPS course in my school in March, so I've been thrilled to find such a site that is so fun and informative. This is Christmas. I've downloaded 8 caches which I'm going to find. Those caches aren't going to find themselves, so here I go. Happy holidays. I look forward to your next episode. Bonnie from Utah. Well, Bonnie, thanks for writing, and good luck with your course. I hope it goes well. And if you want to show this show to your classmates, please feel free. Well, anyways, that about wraps it up for viewers' mail. So let's go and get on with the show. So there's a form of urban cache hiding that's quite popular. And chances are, if you've been in the sport for any length of time, you've probably found 1 or 2 or 10 of this type of cache. However, there were none in Prince George. So I decided to put one in. And this segment is actually the story of how this cache came about. The cache is called the world-famous Prince George Cache. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this segment. One night our host Icenrye had a dream. He dreamed he was on a mission, looking for a world-famous style cache. Yes, viewers, he was looking for the legendary light pole box cache. A treasured find, these caches were found in all parts of the world, but alas, none were to be found near 53 North by 122 West. So our intrepid host set out to find a pole suitable for one of these classic caches. He searched all over the city, finding many poles, but none were suitable for the task. He was sad. Icenrye did not give up. He looked and looked. He found areas that would be suitable for other urban microcaches, but not the light pole box cache. It was starting to look bleak. Then, one day he saw it. All alone in a parking lot, it stood like a great pine tree. A lodgepole pine, to be exact. Could this be it? He took a look. And yes, the pole would work for the cache. The cache would be known as the famous Prince George Cache. So one of the great things about living here in Prince George is the access to our parks area. We have parks all over the city. As a matter of fact, I'm filming this up at the University of Northern British Columbia. And just a short walk from here is Forest for the World and the Cranbrook Greenway Trail System, which is approximately 18 kilometers long. And if you include the Forest for the World, carries approximately about 4 or 5 different caches. It's quite a nice trail. Well, one of Canada's crown jewels, our national parks, Jasper to be exact, is a 4-hour drive east of here. And when I took up the sport of geocaching 2 years ago, Jasper was amazing. There were caches everywhere, and as I always say in the sport of geocaching, it gets you up places where you've never seen before, you've never even heard of before. I've been going to Jasper for 20 years, on and off, camping and hiking and biking and doing everything. I thought I'd seen the entire place. Well, guess what? Geocaching took me to places I'd never even heard of before, I'd never even seen before. It was absolutely amazing. Well, in April 2005, Parks Canada decided to implement an interim policy on geocaching. They posted it to their website, and it read as such. interim policy on geocaching in protected heritage areas managed by Parks Canada. We want to hear your views. You're invited to comment on the development of a policy for the management of geocaching activities in Parks Canada's protected heritage areas. The consultation period for the development of alternate management scenarios will continue until the end of December 2005. So they go on to write, the interim policy is as follows. A moratorium has been placed on new physical caches. Existing physical caches will be removed, as will the website postings of physical caches. Web material will be archived through cooperation with website administrators. Physical geocaching is now posted as a prohibitive activity in all Parks Canada administered protected heritage areas in order to provide a regulatory and compliance mechanism for managing the activity. And then they go on to state why they implemented the policy. And a few things that they were worried about was, for example, off-trail use. They write, many species may be affected by off-trail travel, specifically at certain times of the year when they are nesting or breeding. Maintaining undisturbed and unfragmented habitat is a key priority in protected heritage areas. Unmanaged placement of off-trail geocaches could contribute to increased impacts on wildlife. Further, trampled vegetation and soil erosion are also associated with off-trail use. In certain terrain types, it takes only a few passes by people to create a highly visible social trail, which may in turn encourage further use and increased impacts. So what they're writing about there is something that we've all seen before. Admit it, we've all seen it. You go out, you're looking for a geocache, and it's hidden at a root of a tree, or it's underneath a log or something, and you've gotten there, and someone has totally thrashed the area looking for it, and you're seeing stuff turned up, and rocks and sand flying everywhere, and usually it's because they're frustrated because they haven't found the cache. Of course, you show up, you look, and there it is. So that's one of the things they're concerned about. So they conclude, for the remainder of 2005, Parks Canada will be consulting the geocaching community on the interim policy to consider alternate management scenarios. Parks Canada's key objective is to provide opportunities for visitors to participate in interesting and educational experiences in ways that maximize potential impacts. And then they go on and say, this is what we're going to do. Well, at the end of 2005, actually just a few weeks ago, in early January, they came out with this form. Parks Canada Public Consultation on Geocaching. Then they go and they say, over the course of the past year, Parks Canada has solicited comments on an interim policy for managing geocaching. The interim policy was communicated to the public via internet postings and through contacts with geocaching organizations. Information on the interim policy was provided on the Parks Canada website, and they give the address and so on and so forth. And then what they did is they go through all their different emails and they summarized the themes that were written in. And they came up with a list of 7 most frequent comments. And they are in order. Number 1, geocachers demonstrate a good environmental ethic by picking up garbage and having little impact. 2, geocaching is a safe, educational, family experience. 3, geocaching allows visitors to experience the environment. 4, support for Parks Canada approach and environmentally based focused. 5. Parks Canada was not equipped to make a policy regarding geocaching. Number 6. Geocaching would create economic benefits for Parks Canada. And number 7. Wants Parks staff to give geocaching a try. And then they go on and they explain each one of these themes. And one of the ones that really caught my idea was theme number 4. Support for Parks Canada approach and environmentally based focus. Now that gets back to what I mentioned earlier about people digging up roots and just generally destroying the place. So if you're not geocaching in national parks in Canada, if you're wherever you are, just remember that, okay? People are watching this activity and people are aware of any possible damage. So just getting off topic a bit, don't tear up roots. Okay. Theme number 6. Geocaching can create economic benefits for Parks Canada. People argued that Parks Canada was missing out on a great opportunity to enlarge their income by allowing this activity. Think about this. If you've ever been to Jasper or Banff in the summertime, you know the place is completely overrun with tourists. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, those of you who live in Florida and Texas, and unfortunately I don't remember where number 1 was, but if I mention the phrase Geo Woodstock, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Big annual party, geocachers from all over the world congregate, get together, have fun, party, and geocache and learn about the sport. Well, I was hoping to do a Canadian version of a geocache Woodstock, and I wanted to hold it in Jasper National Park. They made a policy change with their campsites a few years ago that now allow reservations, and they actually have one campsite put aside for group reservations. I figured it would be a great idea. We just put it out and say, hey, I'm thinking of this date. Anybody interested, let's get together. We'll meet in Jasper. We'll go out, do some geocaching, do some hiking, sit around, talk about the sport, make new friends, have a lot of fun. Well, unfortunately, as of right now, we can't quite do that, but we're still in the works. Now, there might be some people out there saying, oh my God, get 1,000 geocaching tickets, are going to go out and trample the environment. Hello? The place is saturated with tourists, okay? The place is already saturated with thousands of tourists. Another 200, another 300, another 500, not really going to make that big of a difference. And besides, we're already aware of the environment. We know to stay on trail. We know not to dig up stuff. We know not to pick flowers, okay? That's, somewhat important. Now, as for the economic impact, I spend nearly $100 a day when I'm in Jasper between my camping fees, food, gas, and other various expenses, and it adds up real quick. Now, that's me, one person. Now, can you imagine if we just got, say, a small town, 50 geocachers? That's it, 50 geocachers, spending $100 a day. That's $500 a day. That's $5,000 a day, a day. If we're there for 5 days, start doing the math. It adds up rather quickly. So there is, whether some people like it or not, there is a huge economic impact with the sport of geocaching. So after they go through the popular themes, they then write proposed management approaches. Respondents also provide suggestions for development of a final policy. These suggestions were grouped into 6 themes, and they go on to write. Number 1. Directions to the cache site must outline sensitive areas or areas to avoid during the trek. Number 2. Cache locations must be pre-approved with a permit and monitored by a Parks Canada official. Number 3. Cache located near or within a sensitive area are to be removed or relocated to a less sensitive area. Number 4. Only Parks Canada staff should create virtual and physical caches. Historic sites are to have virtual caches only. Number 5. Caches must be located within 3 to 5 meters of a trail and be well marked. And number 6. Cache container format should be regulated. Cache items should not be destined for trade, and descriptions within the cache must hold some historical educational value. And then they go on to break each policy into detail. For example, number 2 was that staff designated to approve a cache location must have geocaching and GPS knowledge. That is a great suggestion. For once the government comes out and says, hey, if we're going to regulate something, maybe we should learn about it. And again, that's where they're coming back to us, the geocaching community, and saying, hey, what's this sport about? Let us know. Fill us in. So one that really caught my eye was number 6. Cache container format should be regulated. Cache items are not to be destined for trade, and descriptions within the cache must hold some historic educational value. They asked us about geocaching. We told them, listen, these are containers. This is what we like to use, and we still like to have caches and remote areas, or what they call historic site settings, and but obviously, like a lot of other places, you're not going to find space to hide an ammo box. So if you can at least let us do a key box, magnetic key box, even, a world famous lamp pole cache, would work. That, just give us access to the area. We want to continue this sport. We're willing to work with you. So anyways, that's their interim policy on geocaching and the proposed management approaches that they've come up with. And I'll have links to everything on my website. The interim policy, as I read off, is simply a website, and their proposed changes is actually a document. I have it on my website. Again, I'll put a link in the show notes where you can download and read it for yourself. What do I think? Well, like I said, I consider Jasper to be my backyard. If I'm not in Jasper at least once a month, I start going through withdrawal process, okay? Again, I have friends who live there. It's a great place to go. I just love to go there with the dogs, and we have an absolute blast. Now, as of right now, yes, I cannot go to Jasper and geocache. However, it doesn't look like they're going to ban it outright. As a matter of fact, if you actually go look up caches in Banff, they're still around. They haven't been physically removed. Whereas in the Jasper area, they're gone. They're out right now, and all the websites have been archived. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to come back. It's just Parks Canada is saying, okay, we want to learn more about this. We want to find out the good things. We want to find out the bad things. We want to find out, I hate to use the word, but sorry, it has to be regulated. Okay, we have to keep control of this. We don't want people running willy-nilly all over the place, hiding Tupperware boxes full of stuff you buy at a dollar store. Okay, so what's going to happen? Well, the respondents who have been writing to Parks Canada have been, very creative, very good letters, and, we've been working with them. We're working on a policy, and yes, of course, we're going to try and steer the policy so it's slightly better for us, but whatever happens is going to happen, and we're just going to have to make the best of it. So, if you want to stay in touch with what's happening with Parks Canada and geocaching, check out the Groundspeak forums. I'll have the address in the show notes, and of course, by now, it's sitting right about here where my graphics usually go. And as a matter of fact, if you don't want to type in the address, just go to Groundspeak Forums, Internationally Speaking Canada, and Parks Canada is sticky. And also while you're there, you can see the same thing is happening with Parks Ontario, and there's also a current theme going with Parks BC. So, like I said, let's just consider ourselves on trial right now, but if we behave ourselves, stick to the simple rules, and don't do anything too stupid, we should get out of this just fine. So, I've been here bantering on for the better part of 10 minutes now, so I got some bonus footage for you. As a matter of fact, last September, before they took the caches away, I was actually in Jasper, and managed to get a couple caches in while I was there. So, I'm going to roll the tape, sit back, relax, enjoy, and I'll see you in about 5 minutes. So first on our Jasper tour is Marjorie Loop's Loot by Getting Lost. We're at the trailhead. It's the number 3 trail in Jasper, if you're ever in the area. And the trail is just off behind us in this direction here. And this is actually part of the 20-mile loop, which is a really cool loop. I rode it on my bike a few years ago, and it's lots of fun. And in fact, if you do the loop clockwise, you get a really fun descent coming back down to the trailhead. Anyways, there's a map behind me. Let's just have a quick look at it. So we are here. And where we're going is right there. Marjorie Lake. So I got the dogs, got my receiver, got some trading goodies. Let's go find this sucker. So we're approximately 100 meters from the cache now. It's time to get busy. Actually, there's a decrypted clue. That was the sign back there, just telling us we're relatively close, but nothing's going to tell you exactly where it is. So we still got to do some looking, so off we go. Victory! Found it. There she is. What do we got? Here's the logbook. Far out. Bill Cosby. CD, tunes. Various other little goodies. So we'll sign the logbook, do our trading, hide it back. And it's starting to rain, so we're not going to stick around too long or get back to the van where it's nice and warm and dry and see what else we can find here in Jasper. So just east of Jasper, on the way to Hinton, there's a little rest stop. And you pull in there, nice little lake, see it behind me, and of course a cache. And the one we're looking for is West of Hinton Books and CDs by Mom, Dad, and Marcus. It's pretty much the same as my CD Exchange cache. It's a themed cache where you swap music and books and such. So I think I still have one copy of my VCD left, so when we go find it, if we find it, we'll have something to exchange. So I've walked on the trail a little bit because it was right next to the highway. I wanted to get away from the traffic. And it's about 120 meters in from the rest stop. So it's off in that direction, and away we go. As you can see, we found it. We have everything all spread out. We can go and take a look at what we have. We have various books, CDs, some interesting titles. Interactive Concepts in Biology. Sounds like a textbook on CD. Interesting. There's the lid from the cache. Container with a few more pieces inside it. So for trading, I found a nice little Green Day button that I'm going to take, because I'm going to try and look for another cache a little later today, and it's actually owned by a friend of mine who's a huge Green Day fan, so I want to leave it in her cache. And for my trading item, of course, the Icenrye VCD, episodes 1 and 2. So, this is the West of Henton book and a CD exchange near Jasper. If you're ever in the area, check it out. It's not too far off the highway. It's a quick, easy cache if you want to get out and stretch your legs. Now, back onto the road to see what else we can find. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of Icenrye Geocaching Videozine. Thanks for watching. Just a couple quick notes before we take off. Remember, drop by Podcast Alley and vote for me. The more exposure, the more people get to see this wonderful sport of ours. Also, remember, keep in touch with what's happening with geocaching in Canadian parks. Sounds like it's not going to be completely banned, but let's see if we can, give them good direction and steer them in a way that we'd like to see. So what's coming up in future episodes? Well, as you can see, there's snow here. So I'm going to grab the camera. I'm going to try and get out and do some winter caching this year. There's still 2 or 3 caches in Prince George I haven't tracked down yet, and they should be a lot of fun. Also, I mentioned before, I hope to do something on how a GPS works. It's a lot more technical than I first expect, and just want to make sure I do something really nice on it. So I'm just taking my time, putting some planning into it. And of course, I got all kinds of other great surprises coming up in future episodes, so stay tuned and stay in touch. So in the meantime, and in between time, that's it. Another episode of Icenrye Geocaching Videozine. I hope you enjoyed it. Cache on.